Hey friends, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging, and it has been 4 months since I flew to Turkey and had body contouring surgery. So for those of you who are unfamiliar or brand new to my channel, I went to Istanbul and I had a tummy tuck, body lift, some liposuction, and a tiny bit of BBL, and I mean a very tiny bit. I actually wish I could have had more. And I'm going to explain a lot about the surgery, but I do have a full video that shows some clips from Turkey that goes more into detail if you care to watch that. This is really more of an update, but just to start out, I am doing fantastic 4 months in, but I have a lot of details to share with you as far as how I'm feeling, the tightness in my abdomen, my workouts, the weight that I lost from having surgery, because obviously when you remove skin and you have a little bit of liposuction, some weight is lost eventually after that initial swelling goes down. And we'll talk all about that. You guys, this was a really big decision for me. My youngest baby is 20 years old, almost 20. And I had wanted a tummy tuck since she was born. I had that kind of flap of skin that I really disliked, but I could never afford it. And I know a lot of people assume content creators have all kinds of money, but that's just not the case for me. I am the only income in my household, and we are not rich people. So for me to go ahead and have a tummy tuck was something I always felt guilty about considering, and I just never felt like we could afford it. And then years later, after a lot of savings, I decided, well, I consulted with my husband, and of course he was like, let's just do it, let's just go ahead and do it. So I did a lot of research and I wanted to see Dr. B in Istanbul. And this was after losing quite a bit of weight. And just for full transparency, I had been thin pretty much my whole life, but after my son Drew died, I gained a lot of weight and I opted for gastric sleeve surgery. Now, it's kind of controversial, and I know it's kind of unpopular opinion, but I think that gastric sleeve should be more normalized, especially for people who are aging, maybe have some metabolic issues like I do. I had thyroid cancer when I was in my 20s. And, as we age and hit menopause, it becomes very hard to lose weight, especially in the midsection. So I did have the gastric sleeve surgery. And then at 1 year after that, I flew to Istanbul and had a tummy tuck, body lift, a little bit of liposuction, and a tiny bit of BBL. So I will just say it is a difficult surgery, a difficult recovery. It does take time. You have to be patient and you have to be willing to go through some discomfort. But 4 months later, I am so happy, so thrilled that I did this surgery, that I invested in myself and in my happiness and confidence and in my health. So I want to show you a before and after picture first, because this is after about 70 pounds, 75 pounds weight loss. And then the picture in the blue bikini is where I was 3 months later. Now, before this, I did have a lot of inflammation. The first month, there was a lot of bruising. So it took about 2 months to really get through all the bruising and the inflammation, and even into the 3-month mark, I still had some inflammation. And now the inflammation pretty much is always gone unless I work out. And after a workout or a really long walk or a hike, I might have a little bit of swelling in the tummy area. Not a lot, but a little bit. So I feel like my stomach is still quite taut, like feeling pulled and stretched. And I have some tension in the incision area. My incision goes all the way around my body because of the skin laxity in my age. I'm almost 54. If I had just done a tummy tuck, it would have had kind of loose skin around the hips and back. So it made sense to do a tummy tuck with muscle repair and full body lift all the way around. And I'm so glad that Dr. B talked me into that, because I think I would have really been disappointed if my tummy were tight and the hips and backside were kind of sagging and loose. So that's kind of the byproduct of both aging and a significant weight loss. So we went ahead into the full body lift, tummy tuck, muscle repair, a little lipo through the waist. And also I had some under breast fat pockets that were liposuctioned with the surgery as well. And those just, no matter the weight I lost, would not go away. So I was so glad that he kind of guided me in making the best decisions to have the best results for my surgery. So here is more recent pictures. And I love my belly button repositioning. I think he did a beautiful job with that. I think it looks very natural. I was a little concerned because immediately after surgery, the belly button looked kind of elongated and bruised and almost stretched out too much. But since the swelling has gone down and things have settled into place, the belly button looks more natural. And I have a hard time seeing any scars on the belly button at all from repositioning. So here's another picture that shows the belly button a little better. And no matter what I'm wearing, I can wear a string bikini even. He did such a good job in positioning this incision that you can't see the scar under underwear or even the smallest of bikinis. So I think, like, I'll go back to this picture. Well, this isn't a string bikini, but you can see you can't see the scar at all. It's hidden underneath the swimming suit. And I can literally wear a string bikini and the string part on the sides goes right over the top of the incision, which is super fine. So that was really surprising to me because I felt like I was just going to have to deal with that scar showing in some situations, but it's really, I've been able to cover it. And as far as like how my husband feels about it, he hardly notices it, he says, and he's so supportive of me having the surgery and my renewed confidence. And he's wonderful. My husband is the most supportive person. And so the scar doesn't bother him at all. And quite honestly, it's so faint and it's going to continue to fade that it really doesn't bother me either. So I wanted to share a couple of things about like weightlifting and just life after tummy tuck. There is a little bit of kind of depression almost that happens if you're in the early phase of recovery. So for those of you who are maybe just recovering, it can feel a little daunting because there is so much discomfort and mobility is lacking. You're a little hunched over, there's still bruising, but that does subside as you go along in your recovery. By, like, I would say 6 weeks, I was really itching to start lifting weights, but I couldn't for 3 months. So I started doing what exercise I could, treadmill walking. I would use like 2-pound dumbbells, so very light, and just do some lightweight lifting so that I was more prepared physically when I actually hit that 3-month mark and started lifting weights. I've been lifting weights for a month now that I'm at the 4-month mark, and feel fantastic. And that's a way to further shape your body. I can't say that I have ever felt this confident or comfortable in my skin. I started having babies in my early 20s. And so most of my adult life, I've had, the signs of having babies, stretch marks, loose skin in my tummy, all of that stuff that, of course, I accepted as part of the beauty of having children. And it wasn't that I hated my body. It was just that I was like, oh, if I could ever do something with this pouch down here, I would love to get rid of that. And then as I got older and, went through that period of significant weight gain and then weight loss, of course, that made things even worse. So I really just felt like it was something that was always in my heart and in my head that I wanted to do for myself, but didn't feel like I could spend the money on it. And looking at it now, I mean, I have my moments still sometimes of feeling guilty spending the money, but I have so much support around me. My kids, my husband, they're all like, it was the best thing you did for yourself. So they always remind me that I'm worth it and that it was a good investment. It was a good investment into how I feel about myself. And I just feel more vibrant or more like my old self, if that makes sense. I think we lose a piece of ourselves sometimes. And as we invest so much of our heart and soul and finances into our families, which is so normal, and I think we lose a bit of ourselves in the process of giving so much of ourselves. So I'm trying to reclaim a bit of myself. I'm moving into that empty nest stage of my life. My last baby is home. She's 20, almost 20. And, at some point in the near future, she's going to be out on her own. And so I'm trying to kind of revitalize my life and rediscover myself and what I want to do with the rest of my life when I don't have kids at home. If that makes sense. I think so many of you can probably identify with that. So getting back to how things feel 4 months after surgery, the tightness in the abdomen gets better over time. I still feel tight, kind of like a pulled down feeling, but it doesn't affect my mobility. So I move around in bed, I roll over, it doesn't affect how I move, but you still feel that tightness through your abdomen. And I've been told that that goes away over time. But it's there and it's not painful. It's just that feeling of tightness in the abdomen. As far as the incision goes, I don't have any pain. I don't have any pain in my abdomen or my incision, but there's some numbness in that area. But the numbness has improved. So where when you first have surgery, it feels very numb to the touch. If you scratch on your belly, you don't really feel it. That sensation is coming back, but I can still tell that there's some numbness there. So because I was cut all the way around, those nerves that have been cut and damaged have to regenerate, and that takes time. So it can take a full year to fully recover after a tummy tuck surgery. As far as how I'm managing the swelling when I do get swollen, is I do like a gentle tummy massage or lymphatic drainage type massage with a massage oil. And I'm actually using a coconut oil now. I'll just lay down on my bed and go ahead and do that. And try to do it daily, where you're using very gentle pressure and you're pressing downward from the top, like underneath your breast, all the way down the abdomen to the groin. And that just helps to reduce some of that swelling through lymphatic drainage. My abdomen is actually very flat now most of the time without any swelling, except for when I work out, do a heavy hike or a long walk, and then the swelling will come back, which is normal because the healing process is so long after a tummy tuck, and especially because I had all that extra stuff done with the body lift. So I'm not anticipating a full recovery for a year. But as far as the way I live my life, I live it completely normal as far as swimming and exercising. When I do swim, something to note if you're a swimmer is that when you're stretched out in the water, I do notice that pull through the abdomen more. So I feel it. It's not painful. It's just a little awkward. And so sometimes I'll adjust how I'm swimming so I don't stretch that area too much. As far as my weight loss, when I went into surgery, I was about 160 pounds. When I came out of surgery, I was a few pounds heavier because of inflammation. And once that inflammation went away, so about, I would say 2 months in or 2 to 3 months in, I was about 10 pounds lighter after all the inflammation was reduced. So the skin from the surgery, the liposuction that I had done, all of that ended up being about a 10-pound weight loss. So I'm down to about 150 pounds. I went from a size pants that were about a 10 to right now I can wear like a size 6, 8. So there is a reduction just from the sculpting of the waist, the reduction of that pouch of fat in the stomach, and just the contouring that was done allowed for me to wear a smaller pant size. So it just depends on the pants. Like I can wear a size small in like some sweatpants, and then if they run small, I'll wear a medium. I even have some things that are still a large that I like, a sweatpant that's still a large that I want to fit baggy. But for the most part, today I'm wearing a size small, kind of like a baggy sweatpant. So it does change your size a bit too, and of course changes your body shape, which has been a nice, just a nice surprise. When I went into it, I knew that belly pouch would, like I'll show the picture, I knew that belly pouch or flap would be removed with a tummy tuck, but I didn't really think about how that was going to change my overall size or how clothes fit me. Like I knew that skin would be gone. For some reason, I just didn't comprehend how significant that change would be. So that was a really nice surprise. I think the biggest thing that has improved in my life is just my confidence and feeling of self, my ability to not feel criticized, like to handle criticism, to handle the tough things that life throws at me. I just feel stronger, and I don't know how or why exactly. I feel a little bit more, I have more strength in my life, but I feel like the confidence this has given me strength to overcome more adversity. It's kind of a weird thing because it's not something that I expected to happen with the surgery. So that has probably been the biggest change, and the thing that I love the most about having this surgery isn't what I see in the mirror, but how I move through life, and how I feel more confident and more able to handle the things that life throws at me. If that makes any sense at all, you guys. I keep looking at my notes, so bear with me. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me for this update. If you are going through a tummy tuck surgery, if you're considering it, it is fantastic. It is life-changing. You do have to go through some healing and some discomfort, not being able to move around good in bed. It is a big surgery and it is a pretty big recovery. But once you get through that, it goes by faster than you would think. And it is just amazing the improvement it makes in your life. So I highly recommend it to those of you who are toying around with the idea of doing it. Make sure you get a good surgeon. I'll provide my surgeon's information if you're up for a trip to Turkey. It is significantly less expensive, but you do have the flight expense. Otherwise, everything is paid for you. So I paid for my surgery. It wasn't provided for me. I'm not being paid to tell you his name or promote him in any way. I just think he's an expert at this, and I was so glad that I did it there. And if you want to know more about that experience and the language barrier and stuff, there really is no language barrier, and they have people there that speak English. But I have my other video that kind of shares more of that and shares like the bruising I had immediately after, and just my hospital stay while I was there, and all the nitty gritty about those early days of the surgery. So definitely check that out if you haven't made your decision yet. If not, just do a lot of homework about or get a recommendation from a friend. I just think the more research you do upfront, the better, the more prepared you are. And wear your faja, keep that compression. I did for 3 months, 24 hours a day, except for when I showered, wear my faja. I'm not wearing my faja now. Occasionally I'll put it on if I have swelling, but I pretty much don't wear it. I know some people continue to wear it for like a whole year or for 6 months, and I am enjoying not wearing it all the time. But if I feel any pressure or, swelling pressure, I'll go ahead and put it on for a day or two just to reduce that inflammation. But everything has healed up great, and I have absolutely no regrets. So thanks so much for joining me, you guys. I will see you in my next video.